So this time on Kingdom Government versus World Government, we're going to be talking about the new smart wall that they're actually trying to build on the border instead of actually building a physical wall. Now, why do they want a smart wall, an intelligent wall, a wall filled with AI? Let's talk about it. First person to meet on this journey, let's talk about Palmer Luckey. Now, Palmer Luckey is this gentleman that you see in the Hawaiian shirt right here. He's known because he was the one who created Oculus. So Facebook bought his company and then he became a part of Facebook. And later on down the line, he actually stopped working at Facebook. Now, Palmer Luckey is the one that's behind the company that wants to actually build this smart wall. Now, the company that he is a part of is called Anduril. Now, if you go to Anduril's website, you see here that it says their mission is to transform U.S. allied military capabilities with advanced technologies. Now, two people that are behind Anduril that you will hear is one, another co-founder with Palmer Luckey is Trey Stevens. We'll get to him later. But one of the funders of Anduril is actually a guy named Peter Thiel. Now, if you don't recognize Peter Thiel is one of the co-founders of PayPal. Now, one of the things that also Peter Thiel is known for is he's one of the early investors of Facebook. Now, that's where Palmer Luckey and Peter Thiel met. They made during their time of Facebook. Once again, Facebook purchased Oculus, and Peter Thiel was one of the investors of Facebook, and he actually was on the board, and that's how he met Palmer Luckey. Now, Trey Stevens is basically this guy that you see right here. And he is someone that has close ties to Peter Thiel because he actually worked with Peter Thiel on a company called Palantir. We'll get to Palantir in a second. He's also known as somebody that he's worked with one of the intelligence agencies in the US. He won't say which one, so it's not known which one that he actually worked with. But also at the same time, along with working with Peter Thiel on a company called Palantir, he also works with Peter Thiel in a venture capitalist company that they have called Founders Fund. So here on the Anduril website, on their leadership, you see Trey Stevens and Palmer Luckey being the co-founders of this company that is behind trying to make your smart wall. Now, you see how all this kind of ties together. Palmer Luckey made the Oculus Rift, which was bought by Facebook. Peter Thiel was the one that was on the board at Facebook because he was an investor of the company earlier. So that's how they met. But we also see that Peter Thiel and Trey Stevens work together because they're known each other through the company Palantir. And also they work on the Founders Fund, which is a venture capitalist company that actually, goes out and invests in all these different companies. And Founders Fund, Palantir, they invest in Anduril. So this is how everybody connects. So you see right here on this headline, it says, Techie Software Soldier Spy Palantir, Big Data Scariest, Most Secretive Unicorn is going public. So let me give you the lowdown on Palantir. Palantir is basically the company that is the successor of the TIA, or a government program that was called the Total Information Awareness Program. This was during the Bush era. Now, how do we actually know that they actually come from TIA and the things that they were involved in? Well, we know because of Peter Thiel and John Poindexter, the guy who was over Total Information Awareness, actually met because they wanted to know how they could be like him and use the stuff that he was doing to build their own company. And we know it from this article right here. If you go and you read this part of the beginning of the article right here, it says back in 2003, John Poindexter got a call from Richard Peel, an old friend of theirs back in the day, serving together from the Reagan administration. So if we go down further, this story says, Poindexter was precisely the person Peter Thiel and Alex Karp, the co-founders of Palantir, wanted to meet. Their new company was similar in ambition to what Poindexter had tried to create at the Pentagon, and they wanted to pick the brain of the man now widely viewed as the godfather of modern surveillance. When I talked to Peter Thiel early on, I was impressed with the design and the ideas they had for the user interface, Poindexter told me recently, but I could see that they didn't have, well, as you could call it, the back end to automatically sort through the data and eliminate the tedious task for users. So Peter Thiel and the other co-founder of Palantir actually met with John Poindexter because they felt like he was the godfather of modern surveillance. Now let's actually go back and look at TIA and we'll show you who was over it. Right here, Total Information Awareness. So right here, Total Information Awareness was a mass detection program by the United States Information Awareness Office. It was operated under that name from February to May 2003 before being renamed Terrorism Information Awareness. Based on the concept of predictive policing pre-crime, TIA was meant to correlate detailed information about people in order to anticipate and prevent terrorist incidents before execution. The program modeled specific information sets in the hunt for terrorists around the globe. Admiral John Poindexter called it a Manhattan Project for counterterrorism. So we see that John Poindexter was the one that was over it. He was the one that was over TIA, Total Information Awareness, and he met with Peter Thiel to tell Peter Thiel about all his ideas of modern surveillance, because that's what Peter Thiel wanted to take that idea and create Palantir about. He wanted to continue TIA through the company Palantir. So he met with John Poindexter about what it is that they wanted to do, and John Poindexter gave them some tips. Palantir went off to be successful. They helped different administrations in the DOJ, and then from there, from the success of Palantir, you have Peter Thiel going off and creating his venture capitalist company called Founders Fund, which he also had Trey Stevens on there, and Trey Stevens helped him work with some shady companies like Carbine 911. And then from there, when Peter Thiel was on the board of Facebook, he met Palmer Luckey, and Palmer Luckey was the one that, with Trey Stevens, they went off and created Anduril. So we know that if Palantir and the Founders Fund, from their origins and who they were, if they're funding Anduril, who's going to go off and create all this new AI technology and stuff that is helping the companies, surveillance and stuff like that, if we just follow this line and put all this together, it has to be no good, because we know from the 2030 agenda that the globalists put out that there's a lot of things that they want to have done by 2030 for to make the country, what they say, a better place. And we're going to go over that right now. So right here, if we go to the United Nations website, it says the transforming of our world, the 2030 agenda for sustainable development. And they say this agenda is a plan of action for people, planet, and prosperity. It also seeks to strengthen universal peace and larger freedom. And we recognize that eradicating poverty in all forms and dimensions, include extreme poverty, is the greatest global challenge. So basically, they're trying to say that they're trying to make the world a better place through these plans that they have. They're trying to get rid of poverty, homelessness, all this other stuff. But us as kingdom citizens, we already know, hey, look, if y'all saying y'all doing this outside of Elohim, we know it's trying to basically bring in this new world government. That's what the globalists are trying to do. They're basically setting up, bringing in the new world order. Now, if we go down here to goal 16, the United Nations basically says that they want to promote peaceful and inclusive societies for sustainable development, provide access to justice for all, and build effective, accountable, and inclusive institutions at all levels. Now, one of the ways that they say they want to do this, if we go down here to 16, their section 16.9 of their goal 16, it says by 2030, they want to provide legal identity for all, including birth registration. Now, what this basically means is that they want to make sure that everybody within the country, within the world, has some type of legal identification that they can identify people with. Now, this all goes back to things that we're seeing in the world right now. We see that in China and stuff like that. They have it now to where if you want to access a bank account and spend money, that you actually have to have a type of facial recognition or a system that connects your biological data to your bank account, which is basically like your digital identification. They want to connect that to your bank account. So with them basically doing that, they can basically allow or disallow you to spend money. And there's videos of this actually going on right now on social media that you can see.
So the latest in this dystopian outrage that is now all of China apparently is I once again cannot buy food. A couple days ago, my uncle and my cousin helped me get a cell phone that is linked to a Chinese bank card so that I could buy anything. But now, apparently, it has been flagged for some reason, and I have to pass facial recognition identity verification, which is insane, because all I want to do is just spend my gift card balance on this debit card. can't believe I'm doing this. I have to open my mouth. Oh my god. Terrifying. Oh. And of course, because it was my cousin who set this up for me, I did not pass verification. I guess it's a good thing that the Chinese app is not racist. But now I once again can't buy anything.
A lot of people know about the central banking digital currency, where the plan is the globalists, they want to get rid of actual physical cash and they want to have a trackable digital cash to where they'll be able to control and know what you are doing with your money, how you are doing with your money, and they can actually regulate that money. And they think that's a better world. And this actually goes back to the smart wall. The agenda of the smart wall, which they won't tell you, they're going to basically see what they're going to do is they're going to create a problem. And then from creating that problem, they're going to give you a solution that they already wanted in the first place. They just had to create a problem in fear to get you to agree to it. Just like right now on the borders, many people are still running through the borders, and they're going to use that problem to make a solution of saying, hey, we need to build a smart wall. And then from you agreeing and building that smart wall, this is what's actually, they're not going to tell you everything that's going to come with the smart wall, but this is what's going to come with the smart wall. The smart wall will force you to use digital ID to cross the border. It's going to use biometric surveillance, AI, facial recognition, and autonomous devices to make sure that they're able to track and follow everybody that is actually going to be coming in and out of America. And this isn't like the first time this idea was brought up. If you actually look up the Secure Border Initiative Network, this was something back in the Bush area that they wanted to actually bring up, but they didn't do it then. They're actually going to try to do it now. So if you didn't know something about this smart wall, this is why you really need to know what's going on in America, because a lot of these non-elected people with these companies are going and they're trying to bring ideas and stuff to your politicians, to your people in office to try to solve these problems. And they're actually going to allow them to bring in this idea that they have, but the idea that these billionaires or these super elite rich people have from the solutions that they're bringing, like the smart wall, is more that's going to come with it. It's more that's going to come with it than they actually let you know about. So this smart wall is something that's actually helping the agenda of the globalists, of the elite, of the WEF, those plans that they put out to actually help bring in what, born again believers, as we know, call it the New World Order. Joe Biden and the Democrats have also helped Palmer Luckey start testing out surveillance towers actually in the Great Lakes in the northern border of the United States. They already have surveillance towers on the southern part of the United States because there was a rancher that basically allowed them to use his land to be able to put these surveillance towers down so that they can actually surveillance the southern border. So if you haven't researched this, actually research this about the smart wall. Who are the people behind it? What are they doing? And all this other stuff, so that you won't be lost and that you can actually know what's going on. So I just gave you a little bit, but you can actually go and read it for yourself to actually see what's going on.